Okay, you guys, so I'm doing a little quick tutorial on the, I guess we'll call them square or soap dish Rice Krispie treats. Um, I researched Google and YouTube and everybody don't really see anything. So what I have here is the sticks for the Rice Krispie treats. I use this because it's easy to use and just throw it away to like stir and mix my chocolate. It is milk chocolate, but this is I was just working with some yellow too, and this is just for a tutorial. My kids will more than likely eat these, so don't worry about the two colors. Rice Krispie treats. Obviously, I'm sitting it on these tins because you want to sit these on a flat surface. They're super flimsy, as you can see. Just me picking it up bends it. So you want to make sure that you have a super flat surface to sit these on from transporting them in and out of the fridge. That's very important. And also, I put them on something like this of tin or metal material because I put this in the refrigerator or freezer, whichever one your choice, and let it get extremely cold. So here I have a cup. I already put the bag in there that I'll pour the chocolate into just to make it easier to squeeze in, and then scissors obviously to cut the tips. I have this knife because I'm going to do two versions of the Rice Krispie treats, and these are bows that we usually tie to the sticks just to dress them up. Hole puncher, and that's how I achieve these holes on here to make putting the sticks on easier. I usually have a toothpick because sometimes I do like the marble or two-tone color effect, and so that's what this is for. I'm not going to, but I'll just, I guess, simulate how I get that effect. And then obviously this was the ruler that I use. It's just a regular ruler, but I sterilize it really good, and I use it for my baking and stuff like that. So, and I use that to basically measure here to get the stick exactly asymmetrical. But my goal here is to show you guys how much chocolate to use and how to only have to use half the dish. So let me see real quick. My daughter's recording for me. Okay, so real quick, I had did two different things here. One, I did it in white so that you can see the imperfections. This here happens where you can see the Rice Krispie treats when you push the Rice Krispie treat down into the chocolate to try to make it fit. Excuse me. I don't recommend doing that. And I'm going to show you the way that I do it to prevent this. Just in case you use white, you don't want to keep having to apply chocolate and double dip and all that extra stuff to get a smooth finish or a finish where you can't see that. And sometimes you're not always decorating the whole thing to cover and hide that. So that's why I did this in white. Again, don't mind the two-tone. I was just using the chocolate I had left. And I cut these open because I know one of the big concerns is how much chocolate, that it's like a lot of chocolate. So I cut it in half, same stick, but I had just cut it in half so you can see that, I mean, it is, you know, a great deal of chocolate around, but it's not really a lot. It seems like it's a lot, but some of us who may double dip or even triple dip things like cake pops and stuff to get that extreme smooth finish, it can sometimes build up like this as well. And this is the other version I was going to show you guys, which was, as you can see, I'll turn it to the side. And they're not perfect because I didn't square them up or anything. I'm just trying to do a quick tutorial. But side by side, you can see how much thicker this one is to this one. So to those who are concerned about using a whole lot more chocolate or trying to reduce the amount of chocolate, this is this. And I left these shavings up here because this particular method that I did is when you warm up these sticks and you just kind of screw them or skewer them down in there. So that's why I left the shavings, just to show you. You will get that right there. But this was the ones that I did with this pre-inserting the stick. So that's what the difference is. And you can also see here that even reducing the amount of chocolate and Rice Krispie treat, that it still have about the same amount of chocolate that goes around it. I guess the difference is that you can use less chocolate because you're literally doing maybe a little, like maybe I guess 1/3 less of the bar. So there's less chocolate, but it's still about the same build up. It's just really not any easier, or I don't know how to say it, but yeah, it's not a way to use less chocolate. So I'm going to move this, and then I'm going to go ahead and open my Rice Krispy Treats up and get those prepared, and then I'll turn back in. Okay, so now what I've done is unwrap the Rice Krispy Treats. One thing I did forget to mention, I did add that in here, is a dowel. The dowel will be used to make an impression on the Rice Krispy Treat to be able to fit the stick in this location, and you'll see what I mean by the indentation. And I did add a spoon because I did have a little bit of white left from something I was just working on, so I'll do a swirl pattern with that, so that's why I had that. And I did have these out as a smaller stick option, but I only recommend using the smaller stick options. As you can see, let's see, is if you don't use these holes, because you can see it is a big difference. And by the way, the dowel that I'm using is a normal little, I guess a cake dowel or something like that, but you can see that it's the same. So that's why I use this, to give the correct impression of the straw, but it's way more sturdier. As you know, if you press down on these hard enough, they'll crush in, but the wood is not going nowhere. So these are the 3 whole ones that I'll use for here. And for the half size one, as you can see, I don't have holes on this one because I wanted to show the skewer version. But on this one, I simply cut a Rice Krispy Treat in half. And that's what results in using less Rice Krispy Treat and, you know, a little bit less chocolate. So it's just 1 Rice Krispy Treat. I just cut it down in half. That's pretty much how I do that. But for the whole ones, what I do is I just take, you know, the palm or the heel of my foot, the palm, and then I just press it down and I make it flatter. And my whole purpose of doing this is to be able to fit down inside of the cup, to give almost complete coverage in here of more Rice Krispy Treat, but as you can see, so that the chocolate can come up over it. If it's not smushed down, then you can see the difference, that it's almost up to the top, and you won't be able to have a smooth finish. If you don't care about the back, how the back look, then you can leave it, but as you can see, by not smushing it down also, is going to require more chocolate, because look at the space that it have on the sides. It's like a lot taller, so it'll be a lot more thicker versus, you know, a little less. So that's why I do that. And then I also, after I do that, I try to find the center, and I like my stick to go up here, you know, halfway for stability. And I just press this down into this little area. You can put that back together, but just down till it's like, you know, flush here. And that usually gives me enough space to have enough clearance. Let me grab this again. To have enough clearance that once I put it in here, I'm going to grab one of the straws and I insert it in here, and I come up through here, that my stick, and I just, you know, press it down, and you can kind of squeeze this to secure your stick, or, you know, just press this down into the sticky part, and then it'll secure it. Also, when you put the chocolate, the weight of the chocolate will also keep this. But once I do that, you can see it goes in very easily. No chocolate will spill out. And so, yeah. So I'm going to do that to the rest of them, and then I'll... Okay, so as you can see, I have these all smushed down some. Might not be exactly perfect, which, let me set this down. I want to note, I'm working on wax paper because, you know, it won't stick. And then, but you can see the indentation. These I just kind of smushed down a little more so they can fill up the cavity of the square. And right now, I'm just going to take my chocolate, pour it in a piping bag. You don't have to do this. It just makes things a lot easier. You can even use a Ziploc bag and just, you know, get all the chocolate to a corner and cut the tip of the corner off. Again, it's not a requirement. It just makes for, you know, easier filling it up. And I use a cup, as many people I'm sure you guys have seen. It's easier to fill these bags up putting these on a cup to hold the bag while you fill. So yeah, so now it's like this. And then also, when you cut the tip, yes, the chocolate does run. But when you sit it back down in the cup, it does not run. And there's no scientificness to this, but it just, you can see that when you sit it down, it just crushes onto itself. So it doesn't like constantly like run and drip out down into the cup where when you go to pick your bag up again, there's nothing in there. So I'm going to sit that to the side for now. And the first thing I like to do with mine is I like to fill the bottom. And then when I fill the bottom, I actually sit this and I set it. The reason why I do that, let me grab this. The reason why I do that part is because once it's set, no matter if I put this in the mold and I kind of push on it or press on it without breaking the chocolate, obviously, you won't get this. You won't be able to see the Rice Krispie treat peeking through because it's already set. So that's why I just fill my bottom and then I set it and then I proceed to, put in the Rice Krispie treat in and filling it up. Or I also go ahead and I fill up the bottom and I just rest these in here very gently, put the stick in very gently, but I don't push anything down so that this, won't happen. So those are the two different ways you can do it. And so, yeah, I'm going to start off with doing the stick first. So I'm just going to cut the tip of the back off. And then because I was going to do this little marble pattern, I have a spoon. And I was going to put some white here and there in these squares as my chocolate slowly seep out. You guys gotta forgive me. This is really my first tutorial on doing any of this stuff. So if it's kind of slow and dragging, I'm new to this. But I wanted to share this. Don't worry about all the chocolate that's getting all over the mold, because you can wipe it right off. It's silicone, and as you know, as long as it don't set, chocolate is easy to wipe off. Okay, so then I'm going to just squeeze a little bit, squeeze chocolate, all around to fill up this bottom. Do this one too. If you find it easier to go ahead and cut your cups individually, and I'll show you why you might want to, especially starting out, because it's hard to keep the chocolate from dripping into the other compartments. So now I just held it like this to back it off, and then I'm going to sit it down in the cup. So what I do at this point is I take my toothpick, and like you guys have probably did with cakes and things, but I just kind of swirl this back and forth. As you can see, it's already doing the marble texture, or I don't know if you call this marble. You guys get the point. And I'll do that in each cup until you get whatever little desired swirl pattern looks that you're trying to get. And don't worry about completely covering the whole thing, because you'll be doing that in a second. And so to get the chocolate worked around the different cups, you just basically hold it like here, making sure you remember to watch the hole that you have cut out for the sticks. Sorry. And then you come this way. As you can see, it's slowly running into the crevices, and then you're kind of watching and making sure it doesn't spill out into the other containers. And because the silicone is so pliable, if it's not getting somewhere like this, see, I just kind of touched it and helping guide it where it needs to go. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And then as I'm working on these, you can even like kind of hang this one back so you can focus more on this bottom one too. So you want to mainly cover the bottom, but if you have enough chocolate to go up the sides while you're at it, I mean, why not? So then I just tap this, which is kind of hard to do, again, because it's very pliable. So you can take your surface, your flat surface, and just, excuse the noise, just kind of tap it. Okay. So then I'm going to take my Rice Krispy Treats, and I'm just going to sit them down in there, making sure to leave space on the sides so that you can fill that in, and you can just like push that down a little bit so that this will be hidden by the chocolate. And I just do that with all of them, just leaving enough space to be able to get the chocolate up the sides. Okay. And so this is the point where you can insert the sticks, which just hold these still without pressing down though. You just want to hold them here, or even if you used something like even the toothpick, just to hold this in place from wiggling back, just so you're making sure you don't apply downward pressure. You just push this into position, and I'll make it stay in a second. And just push these. We'll get this in here first. And then you just push it into position. And last one, same deal. Get it in here. You can hold this like this, push it into position, and then, you know, you can kind of squeeze up on this to get the sticks to stay. If they're not staying, you can even take chocolate, put it on your stick, and then just kind of hold it here a little bit. And you guys know these melts, they will set not super fast, but if they're almost to a setting point, you could just, because sometimes I do this too, depending on the humidity of the house. A warmer house, you guys know chocolate is temperamental. It does not like heat. It won't set. It can even sweat. It can start falling apart. So yeah. So then this, I'll set in the freezer. And now for the other ones, the half ones, I'm going to do the same process where I'm going to pour some chocolate into here. I'm just going to do these solid brown and pour those, and I'm going to sit these in here, and then I'm going to let it set. Then I'll cover them. So I'll do that, and then I will be back. Okay, so without making this an even longer video, so they're pretty much set down in here. You can see the candy is kind of molded to the side, so you won't have many air pockets. And then tapping it also had removed it so that it's completely coated on the other side. And the same with the smaller half-size ones to be able to use less, you know, chocolate. So, and as I wanted to show you guys how the bag rests inside the cup and it kind of folds it up on its own. You see it's like hardly anything down in there. So, just wanted to show you that. I'm going to go ahead and at least fill in one so you guys can see how that is. And then obviously I'll fill in the others, but I don't want to make this too extreme. So I just kind of go along. Sorry, let me twist my bag to get the air out. Sorry. Okay. So I just kind of go along the edges first, and you see how skinny the tip is. So it just, you know, moves along just fine. And this also helps to prevent from using excess chocolate, because you're getting the chocolate exactly where it needs to be. And then I just do a back and forth motion here just to make sure the stick and the Rice Krispie is covered. And as you can see, I still have a little lip, you know, of the mold. It's not all the way up there, so I mean, it's not a lot, but it is not all the way up there. Then I tap it. Hold on. I tap it. You can see it goes back really smooth. You don't see any imperfections. You can kind of see little tiny bubbles coming up, and you can let that do that. And because this is so cold, the chocolate's already beginning to set. I'm going to slide this out really quick. I apologize for the long video, but I wanted to give a really good tutorial. And my baby's sick in the back, so he's asleep and has a really bad congestion. So the same for the small one. Just fill this up to the Rice Krispy Treat, at least, all the way around. Again, you're in control of how much chocolate you use by doing it this way. And then you just make sure you do a thin coat over the top, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, till you get right about there. It's covered. Stick that back in your cup, and you just tap that out. And then, as you can see, that has been completely covered. You see the bubble, and it pops. So you just, maneuver that around, get all those bubbles out, stick it back in the freezer to let it completely set. And then you'll see how it looks coming out of the mold. And then we'll put the stick with the warmed up stick method on the smaller one. Okay, right. So now these have been set, as you can see. And so to take them off, you can just go along the sides and just pull it off. Again, it's silicone, so it doesn't really stick. You don't need to put any non-stick spray and stuff in here, but you're just gently releasing them. That's all that this whole process is. And I didn't do both on here. I just wanted to give you guys one sample, so I did one. So I'm just pulling that off. And so here, then you just push under here, pushing it up, and you can see it'll just easily fold out and release itself. And grab here, pull the stick out, and it's already on there. And then it sits straight up, as you can see. And you can't see any Rice Krispy Treat peeking through because I did that previous set first without applying pressure, so you didn't get that look. And then the back is pretty flawless. Now for these edges, I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to make this long. But you can just take, like in my kitchen, I use an X-Acto knife because it's super sharp and efficient. But you can use a paring knife, any really sharp knife, and just go along the seams. And let me see if this will halfway do it. Just go along the seams and just clean it up. That's all you have to do. But the stick is already in there. You don't have to worry about it. I'm pulling, I'm wiggling. It's not coming loose. And it sits up perfect. So, same for this one, second one. And just pull it out. And it's, same thing. You can use an X-Acto knife to clean up the non-so-sharp wiggling. And sits up. Now some of these, if they do bow, as you can see, this had it's like a little bowing under there. I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of bulged there. Same situation. This is a serrated knife, so it's not going to look really clean. But all you have to do is just go along the bottom with whatever super straight knife you have and just take that little part off until you get it to whatever you're trying to get it to. And then voila, sits up perfect. Again, already with the stick in. And as you can see, there's no cracking. So people say that sometimes it cracks. There's no cracking there, as you can see. And then the small one, without the stick, same one. You can see it's much thinner. And same thing. This, obviously, because I probably didn't tap it that well because I'm not trying to make it super long. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so tapping gets rid of those. And so then you have this one, the thinner one. And so, yeah. And obviously now it's getting my fingerprints because it's kind of warm in my house. It's at night and we're cold. But you can see that one stands up as well. And for the marble look, to complete the marble look, because I know this just look like blotches, I took some gold. And this was the end result. So it looks, marbled. But very pretty. You can see it glistening. But yeah, so that's how I did that. And if you swirl it or get a thicker stick versus a toothpick and swirl it, you can get different patterns, obviously, for whatever you're trying to do. And so for the heating up of these sticks, I don't know about other sticks, I haven't tried it, but I'm going to stick this in the microwave. Okay, so I just cut the stick down so I can be able to hover over it, but it's warm, and you can just kind of find the place you want to put it, and you just go back and forth and just keep going and going and going. And I did it a little too fast, a little too quick, so that's why I just kind of cracked it. But if you go slow, it won't happen. In fact, let me just heat up another one and show you guys again, because I want to make sure you see it where it doesn't crack. Okay, so the stick is warm. Just took it out the microwave. So you find the spot that you want to put it in, and you just work it back and forth. And take your time doing this. Don't put too much pressure, because you can crack the chocolate. Believe me, I've done it. And so just keep doing this. Just for however deep you feel that you're trying to get. As you can see, I'm gonna pull it back out, but so I've gotten down about that deep in. So I'm gonna keep going. And excuse my my chocolate melting, because my hands are super warm. In the midst of doing this, I'm also cleaning up the kitchen. So then, yeah, you just keep doing that, and that's the method that they use to get the stick in, and then you just clean off the shavings. And yeah, so that's how they say you do it with the warm stick method. I don't know. I mean, it's somewhat secure, but to me, not really. I guess you can keep going deeper, but at some point, the coldness of the chocolate is obviously, to me, gonna, like, you know, eventually make the straw cold, so you can't, you know, keep going in deeper and deeper as you would like to go. But the chocolate didn't crack, so that part they say is completely true. And you see I'm holding it, and it's not really, but you see, I didn't go deep enough. But as you can tell, it did bore down. And maybe even if you do that and you get a little bit of chocolate instead, I'm not sure. I've just seen people say that that's how they do it. I would like for somebody, actually, if you can point me in the direction or show me the warm stick method that stays longer than for a prop, I would really appreciate it. So yeah, again, don't mind the chocolate and stuff like that. This is pretty much just a dud sample, but let's cut into it. You can see how much chocolate was still required. I mean, if you got a really steady hand, you're not in a rush to do a tutorial like I am, you can probably, you know, reduce a little more chocolate there and filling in. But this is the bottom, so I did get it really close, slim to none with the chocolate. So that's what we were trying to achieve. But yeah, so that's the quickest tutorial I can give you. Excuse my work area, because I'm just trying to get this done along with multitasking. But I hope you enjoy the video. Please comment below if you want to see anything else or want me to go over something, and leave a comment on how I did get all this, or if you want to know how I got this and the gold I used to achieve this look, then please comment below. Again, thank you for tuning in to Styles for Days tutorial. This is my first one, and we shall have more to come. Thank you.